What's good, guys? Welcome back to another video. The setup for today is actually looking pretty straightforward, so I'm going to break it all down in today's Bitcoin video. Before we get into it though, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Xuan. I've been publicly documenting the success rate of these trade calls that I've been making on YouTube for the past year and a half or so, and currently I'm at about a 75% win rate, which means that I tend to be right just a tiny bit more compared to when I'm wrong. Now that you have a reason to listen to me, let's get into the video. And we're going to kick things off right away on the daily chart. And by the way, like, trade yesterday on Bitcoin did not end up kind of like coming to fruition, right? And that kind of ties back into something that I say a lot, which is behind every trade setup, there are two things that need to be present. You need to have an idea about what the market's going to do, which, we had the idea. I shared it in the video yesterday. But in order for that idea to turn into a valid trade setup, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be trading just whatever you think the market's going to do. You need to make sure that, okay, this is your idea. This is condition ABC that needs to happen before I dive into it. We had a couple of conditions that were kind of met, but overall, the move happened during outside of the New York kill zone, basically. So if you guys followed me on Twitter yesterday, I said that, all we needed was some sort of a CISD. And I think the first convincing CISD that we got happened at around 11:30 a.m. If you also remember, the other thing that I said about yesterday is that we want to be trading between the hours of 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And we did not ultimately get the move between these 2 hours. And so, yeah, those are the conditions not met. Hence, it is just a trade idea, and it did not end up becoming a trade setup. But I have been on an absolute roll in terms of Forex, which kind of leads me to the second thing that I wanted to share. It's not the first time that I will have gave you guys this advice, but basically the idea is that this system works across a variety of assets. As long as you have, a chart with candlesticks and kill zones, then this system is going to apply. And a lot of the times my students do end up realizing that, yeah, they're getting much more consistent results when they start implementing Forex and indices into their trading rather than simply sticking to Bitcoin. Because the reality is that if you trade Bitcoin only, you're falling prey to two problems, right? Two big problems. One is, even though we had, read for the high impact news yesterday, we did not get the move that we wanted to at the timings that we were wanting to. Meanwhile, on assets like oil and NASDAQ, like, it was super clean. Once the news dropped, it's like bang, 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 instantly TPs hit. The same thing happened on Wednesday as well, where Bitcoin, yes, we did ultimately have a move on Bitcoin, but across the other assets as well, very, very clean movements. So that's one of the things, which is once you have access to Forex and indices, you just get access to so many more opportunities. You are able to avoid problem number two with only looking at Bitcoin, which is even when there is no trade. Like, for example, yesterday I shared with you, the trade idea, right? And ultimately, I ended up looking at Bitcoin, but I did not take a trade. Well, how am I able to remain so patient? Well, I'm not actually being patient. It's just my mentality as a trader is that I'm going to look through the bunch of assets that I have on my list, which at the moment is about 10 assets. I'm just going to look through all of them, and then I'm going to kind of shortlist the two best looking ones, right? I may not know if they will 100% kind of be the best kind of trades for the day, but I will look through all 10 of them and kind of just decide, okay, these two look like the most likely that to give me a good setup, basically. And yesterday it was NASDAQ and oil. And once I see that, like, I'm not forcing trades where there are none because I have other opportunities to look at. So again, like I mentioned this before, but if you're not into Forex yet, and if you're not into indices, like, it's a lot less intimidating than you would believe. I know that you are going to be using a different platform, and the names and the position sizes, like the overall interface, right? Overall aesthetics of what you're going to be looking at is going to be a little bit different, and you are going to feel that it's an unknown thing. But that's also how it is for anything new that you start, right? It's always going to feel unknown. It's always going to feel foreign at first. You will get used to it in a couple of hours. It's just like, it's not that hard to get used to a Forex broker. It's just a lot of people delay those first couple of hours for years and they never get into it. And I'm just here to tell you, I am a hardcore crypto bro. After all, the channel name is literally The Art of Crypto. So if there's one person that wouldn't get into Forex, it would probably be me, because I also put it off for a very long time. And then I started getting into it and I realized, wow, this is actually so much simpler than I initially thought, or like, it's so much simpler than it looks. And yeah, I just felt a bit like an idiot because I put it off for so long. And yet, the moment I started trading Forex is when I started making a lot more money. So yeah, just because I make videos about Bitcoin, just understand, like, I am like, it's not every day that I do trade Bitcoin, right? Maybe I get 2 high quality trades a week if I'm lucky. Majority of the time though, like, definitely don't sleep on your other asset classes. And by the way, this is just going to be a humble show, but if you like my help in getting into Forex, or just to install this system that is super profitable, so that you can start being consistent with your trading. Now, feel free to click the first link in the description box below. Unlike most other programs that just kind of hand you a course and then disappear, like I'm actually going to be working with you step by step, every single kind of step of the way, so that you're always doing it the right way. Now, again, if that sounds good, click the link. But otherwise, let's get into the trade setup for today. So this is going to be a little bit iffy in the sense where yesterday's daily candle close is like absolutely tiny. So in a situation like this, I would actually try to lean towards the lower time frame to be my guide, or at the very least to lean towards the overall trend to be my guide. And so far this week has been really bearish, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 straight bearish candles, and like depending on the chart that you're looking at, in fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if we ended up, depending on the chart that we're looking at, like it would actually be a bearish close. In terms of the daily bias, definitely a little bit iffy, right? It's not the cleanest daily bias, hence why we're going to be using the lower time frame to be kind of like our guide. And once you go into the lower time frame, you start to realize, okay, even if the daily bias is bullish, even if we try to go into a long here, like we're literally just going to be trading straight into resistance right here. Instead of doing it that way, like again, the overall trend is bearish. Even if I come into the 1 hourly time frame, you can see like this week has been super straightforward. Like every single day I've just been saying short, go short, like just short and you'll be fine. And this week so far, we've made an absolute killing because we're finally in a trending situation again after basically weeks of kind of ranging around. This type of price action, believe it or not, is like some of the best price action that you can ask for, especially when you're trading this system, because it's just straight up trend. And when you are in a trend, the wrong thing to do is to try to predict when the bottom is going to come. The correct thing to do is to simply ride the trend and follow along, like the trend is your friend, right? If it's bearish, sell relatively high and then buy back lower. This is kind of the idea of shorting. And now you might think, okay, yeah, throughout the rest of the week so far, like we started at 64K and now we're at 63K. It's already low. Guess what? When you are in a trend, prices are always going to keep going lower until proven otherwise, of course. You can also just sell low and then buy back lower, right? This is kind of the concept of shorting. So instead of trying to predict the bottom, like I say this because I've seen so many people do it before, and I know this is something that the majority of you watching struggle with. It's like the instinct when price is dropping is for you to buy, but that's like, think about it. There is always a reason that the market is dropping, right? Instead of looking for a discount, because the truth is there is no such notion as fair value in the market. Like, who is there to decide that, okay, $62,000 Bitcoin is cheap and $64,000 Bitcoin is expensive? Nobody says that. Nobody knows. So when you don't have any concept of fair value, thinking that anything is cheap or thinking that anything is on a discount is like relative to what? You know what I mean? So instead of thinking of the market in terms of expensive and cheap, think of the market as uptrend or downtrend. Uptrend, you buy high and you sell higher. Downtrend, you sell low and you buy back lower. Like, trust me, if you just implement this one thing, you're going to see a shift immediately in how much money you make from the market and how easy the trades will start feeling like, because guess what happens when you start following the trend? That's right. You get really clean moves, you get quick moves, and very little headache and very little kind of doubt. So right now we have a bearish PD array right here, and we have another one right here, which is a bearish order block. So when price returns back into either one of these levels, that is when I'm going to be looking for a short. Now this is going to be starting at $63,000 all the way up to $63,200. Basically, once you come back into the zone, you can be a looking, not set a limit here, place a stop loss above here, and just kind of like let it be. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when price comes back into these areas, you're going to look for signs that the market agrees with the overall idea. Now, how is that going to look like? Pretty simple. Just like what yesterday, right? This is a CISD. Basically, this is a bullish order block, right? This is a bullish order block. Eventually, this bullish order block gets disrespected, right? Oh, once it gets disrespected, that kind of tells you that, hey, the market maybe doesn't want to respect bullish order flow anymore. And in that case, once price closes below the order block, this is known as a change in state of delivery. It shows you that order flow is potentially changing from bullish. So once the price comes into the level, you're going to be looking for a bearish CISD. Once you get the bearish CISD on the 5-minute chart, right? So something like this, once you get the bearish 5-minute CISD, you can immediately start to place your stop loss. Like, let me just draw out how the bearish CISD would look like. Okay, you get a bearish CISD, price comes in, and you place your entry at the CISD line, you place your stop above the high, and boom, right? This is how you get very systematic when it comes to trading, because you have a clear idea as to what you're looking for, But then you don't just kind of trade your opinion. You also wait for the market to show you that, hey, it agrees with whatever your idea is. Your idea is that the market is going to come into here for this level to act as resistance, and then it's going to drop lower. Guess what? You need the market to actually give you signs that it's dropping lower before you dive into it. Otherwise, you're going to be running into the risk of, okay, price is pumping straight into this level. You're just going to place the limit order right here. Guess what? If you don't wait for these signs, price could very well just keep going higher. And that's how you end up getting stopped out for absolutely no reason. And like, remember guys, you work hard for your money, right? We work hard for our money. We don't want to just be blowing it for no reason at all. Treat your money with respect, and the way you treat it with respect is to wait for confirmations. Also, just one other thing that is worth mentioning. Two other things worth mentioning actually. First of all is the timing that you're going to want to look for this. Well, the New York kill zone is between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. So ideally, you want to see price coming back into this level, and then you get the 5-minute CISD in between these hours. If it's already after 10 a.m. and you still don't see these conditions present, guess what? It's going to be a no trade day. And guess what? That's kind of how trading works, right? Clear conditions, if they're not met, you don't dive into a trade. Don't just also trade for no reason. Again, treat your money with respect. Then second thing you want to look for is potentially we may not come back into this order block and we can just kind of continue dumping straight down. And again, we have this previous kind of weekly low target that we've been targeting for all week. We could very well hit it today. So don't sleep on the day. In the event that price continues to show very bearish momentum, like for example, this is already a bearish order block right here, which means by the time you watch this video, as long as price continues to break lower, like just trade new bearish order blocks. Sorry, for example, by the time you watch this video between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., great. Place your entry here, place your stop above here, and just target for 2R or target for this level. As you get newly formed order blocks, just use them as new kind of like areas to trade from. So imagine if this is the new order block, guess what? Stop is going to go above here, and you're just going to target for 2R or the low down there. Believe it or not, as simple as it looks, is super effective and is a very profitable strategy. And again, just a heads up, like my strategy is super simple, and yet it prints money consistently. My win rate should speak for itself. Plus the fact that everything is super systematic. If you'd like my help to install this into your own trading, then click the first link below. Otherwise, if I have any trade setups, I'm going to be posting it on X. But with that said, great week so far. And let's hope next week we're going to be able to get the same level of performance. But for now, I'm heading out. See you next week, guys.